Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. Today we're going to be going over our Week 2 review as well as our Thursday night preview at the end there. We're going to jump right into this. We're going to start with our Thursday night game. We've already done actual review in our Saturday video when we were previewing the Sunday games and Monday games. But as far as that went, Green Bay beat Washington 27-18. Jaden Reed, broken collarbone. Austin Eckler, torn Achilles. Deatrick Wise, I want to say he tore his ACL, but I cannot remember what happened to him. And Jaden Daniels actually came out with a knee sprain. He had an MRI on Monday, and he is questionable coming into week 3, which sucks because he's on my team. But going into Sunday, first game of the day, my Lions, 52-21. They beat the hell out the Bears, and I like to see it. They definitely came out and showed who they can be this year. And putting up 52 against the former OC Ben Johnson, a.k.a. Benedict, was nice to see. And more importantly, it was nice to see the Lions get back on track after that week 1 loss to Green Bay. As I said about that Thursday night game, what we realized is that defense is legit. And as far as the Packers go. But in this game, Goff went off. He had 344 and 5 touchdowns. Monra, 9 for 115 and 3 touchdowns. Jamo caught a touchdown. Brock Wright caught a touchdown. Gibbs and Monty both scored a rushing touchdown, which was nice. And most importantly, they looked like the Lions, man. On the other side of the ball, Caleb Williams did Caleb Williams things. Rome Odunze had a huge day, 7 for 128 and 2 touchdowns. Caleb and Swift were all right, nothing impressive. And DJ Moore only had 5 for 46, so nothing to speak of there. Colston Loveland, nothing. Cole Kmet, a couple catches. Luther Burden, not involved very much. So, not much else to say about that other than it's good to see the Lions back on track as far as I'm concerned. Game 2, Rams versus Titans. Rams won this one 33-19. They moved to 2-0. Titans are 0-2 now. The Rams were just simply the better team. Kyron not very efficient. Blake Corum actually came in and got the touchdown behind him. Puka performed the best in the running game as he had a 45-yard rushing touchdown to kick off the scoring for the Rams. And Stafford and Kyron, they just were meh. You know what I mean? Nothing impressive. Cam Ward, his first 2 games were some of the 2 toughest games a rookie could ask for between the Broncos D and the Rams defense with those pass rushers, and in Denver, especially with those cornerbacks. But he is improving. Threw a great touchdown to Alec Ayomaner. We talked about this in the waiver pickup because Ayomaner is one of those guys to pick up off your waivers. The rookie wide receiver there in Tennessee. Cam Ward made a hell of a play, running to his left, escaped, went back to his right, threw cross body. I think it was like a 25 or 30-yard touchdown, something like that. And Ayomaner made a hell of a catch. So just a connection that I feel like is going to keep growing. Calvin Ridley didn't do much, but he didn't get a 0 or anything. I think he had like 6-7 points in fantasy. So, and then Pollard, he did good. He had 91 yards rushing, but no touchdown. I think only 1 catch. So he's still performing. Just you need touchdowns, and right now the Titans aren't scoring a lot of touchdowns. So the fact that they had 19 was nice. Their kicker actually did a great job. Sly there, I didn't expect him to have as good a game, mainly because I thought the Rams defense wouldn't even allow the Titans to score 19. But credit to them for getting that many, and credit to Sly, the kicker there. Our next game, Jaguars versus the Bengals. Bengals won this 31-27, but they lost Joe Burrow for 6 to 8 weeks. He's got a turf toe that's going to require surgery. And it's going to be out, I think it's 3 months. So actually, yeah, longer than 6 to 8 weeks. I'm sorry. 3 months, I think, is what the recovery time is, and should be back in November. I think it was middle of November, end of November. But since he still got the win, they moved to 2-0. The Jags fall to 0-2. Jamar Chase went berserk, 14 for 165 and 1. I'm surprised he only had 1 touchdown. Higgins got 3 for 56 and a touchdown. Chase Brown, pretty quiet. He was not as involved. We're going to have to see what happens going forward with Jake Browning, the backup who came in. You may remember him when he beat the Vikings a few years ago and was like you should have never cut me type shit. And that is who the Bengals actually play this week is the Vikings. So it'll be interesting. But he's a kid that can wing the ball. Like I said, everybody loves the backup quarterback. Jake Browning actually he threw 3 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. Had almost 300 yards, right around 300 yards. I forgot to write his yards down, but he's going to have issues. He's going to be a Ryan Fitzpatrick style, James Winston style, where it's going to be he's going to throw the ball a lot, so the fantasy players should still be involved. We're not exactly sure how much everybody else is going to get distributed the ball between Chase Brown, T. Higgins, the tight ends, Jamar Chase, but we know Jamar Chase is involved. We saw that because Browning was the one that threw him the ball the majority of the catches that he had. So be interesting going forward. The offense should still be able to be fantasy worthy. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of a dip with Burrow gone. But on the Jag side, ETN had 89 total yards and a receiving touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr., only 4 of 12 targets. Was alligator arming, had some drops. I think he had 3 or 4 drops in this game. A lot of criticism coming from all angles for Brian Thomas Jr. right now. Did not look good. Travis Hunter only had 3 for 22. He played a lot of defense. Bayshaw Tootin is the story of this. He is the number 2. He had 11 touches and a receiving touchdown. And Trevor Lawrence fails. That's how I put it. He threw for 271, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yes, they needed the defense to make a stop, but the defense got three interceptions off Browning, man. I don't know what else you can ask of that defense to put you in position to win, and you guys just didn't take advantage of it as far as Jacksonville goes. Especially when Browning, I believe it was Browning threw an interception, and Trevor Lawrence threw one right back to him. It's like, Lawrence, you got to take the step, man, where you become a top 10 quarterback. Or, like I said in my preseason stuff, that Trevor Lawrence might not be the quarterback there next year. If he can't get this team to win, they may make the change just in order to try something new. So it's a concern there with Jacksonville being 0-2. We're going to see how it goes going forward, but we'll move into our next game, which is the Ravens versus the Browns. Another beatdown, 41-17. The Ravens walk away with the victory. They move to 1-1 after losing to the Bills at the end of the game in Week 1. The Browns fall to 0-2. Quinshad Judkins is the story of this game. 13 touches, 10 rushes for 61 yards, 3 catches for 10 yards. Ford and Sampson split the rest. I didn't even know if Ford was going to be involved. He's doing returns as well. But Sampson got a receiving touchdown at the end of the game from Dylan Gabriel, who came in towards the end for Joe Flacco, who was very inefficient. Harold Fannin still involved, even though Njoku got some catches this game. Harold Fannin was still involved, so keep him on your rosters or go pick him up if you haven't already. Lamar on the Ravens side, Lamar is Lamar. 225, 4 touchdowns. Only had 13 yards rushing, but he didn't need to run a lot because they were winging the ball all over the field against Cleveland. That's just all there is to it. Henry had 11 carries for 23 yards, 0 touchdowns. I think he had 1 catch. Everybody's sad because everybody bet Derrick Henry touchdown, and he didn't get one in. It's a lot of people pissed off about it. But Andrews, only 1 catch in this game. It's becoming concerning. He'll probably be a flex start in this week when I get to the games here. As far as my preview for Week 1 stuff for the Sunday and Monday games, Andrews probably going to be a flex start still. Hey, I'll give you one more chance, man. But Isaiah Likely's coming back, and I don't know if you'll be able to start either of them going forward. And Zay Flowers performs again. No touchdown this week, but 7 for 75. You like to see that. You want him to continue to be involved. And if that's the case, you can count on him. And DeAndre Hopkins caught another touchdown this week. Should have had 2. So someone to pay attention to, someone to maybe pick up in those deep leagues, those super flex leagues. You got big benches or spots where you got guys out on IR, you got a free spot. Go pick up DeAndre Hopkins, man. He's only getting 2 catches a game, but one of them's a touchdown so far. He's 2 for 2 per Week 1, Week 2. So moving on, the Bills versus the Jets. Now, in my preview, I thought this was possibly an upset game. I was completely wrong because the Jets didn't stand a chance. The Bills just manhandled this. I should say James Cook manhandled this because what touchdown regression. I'm going to keep saying it. Everybody predicted touchdown regression for James Cook. Not for Jamar Chase, not for Amon-Ra, not for all these guys that scored a bunch of touchdowns last year. None of them got touchdown regression. But James Cook, no way he can score 16 touchdowns again. I say why not? Because I believe he's got 3 now through 2 games. He had 132 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Excellent game from James Cook. Had a nice 44-yard run, touchdown run. Just bounced it outside and just outran everybody to the pylon, and looked excellent doing so. Plus, he got the short yardage touchdown. Josh Allen actually had 0 touchdowns in this game. He didn't do anything. I'm telling you, it was defense and James Cook running all over the place. But yeah, Josh Allen, no touchdowns, not a lot of rushing stats. On the Jets side, Justin Fields got knocked out of this game with a concussion, but he was not good before that. The Bills defense just played really well in this game. The Jets did not. But the concussion probably saved him from looking even worse. He was like 3 of 11, 3 of 12 for 30 yards or something before he got knocked out the game. But he was in the game longer than you think, and it should have been better stats before he got knocked out. Brees Hall only had 38 total yards, and at the end of the day, Jets got handled, man. This was just an ass whooping, and 30-10 doesn't even seem as bad as the 52-21 that the Lions put on the Bears, or the 41-17 that the Ravens put on the Browns. But it was just they were just in control, didn't have to do a lot, and James Cook just did his thing. So moving on to the next game, we have the Patriots versus the Dolphins. I expected the offense to get a little bit more on track. It did, mainly because Christian Gonzalez wasn't playing, and he's a lockdown corner when he is. He hasn't played the first 2 weeks. So that gave that passing offense an opportunity to get going. It did. Not enough, being that the Patriots won 33-27. They moved to 1-1. The Dolphins fall to 0-2. And Ramondre Stevenson dominated touches in this game. That's the story of the game. He had 11 for 54 rushes and 5 for 88 receiving. No touchdowns, but just Henderson only had 5 touches in the game. So not good for his fantasy outlook. And I expect that to get back to where Henderson's more involved next week. I don't think this is the permanent outlook going forward by any means. But Ramondre's not done, that's for sure. And I'm regretting not drafting him late in my draft when I should have. But the craziest thing, there was a punt return. Malik Washington for the Dolphins caught a punt, took it back to the house, scored a touchdown. On the ensuing kickoff, Antonio Gibson returned the kickoff for a touchdown. It was just an awesome, exciting two-play series there in this game. But just something that at the end of the day, they ended up wiping each other out, and the Patriots still get the win. Drake May was solid, nothing impressive. And Kayshon Boutte scores a touchdown, but only had 1 catch. Diggs was a little more involved. And Ramondre, like I said, he was the offense man for the most part. On the Miami side, Tua woke up as far as passing go. The passing offense woke up. Tua threw for 315, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Got sacked a few times. Patriots defense is a sneaky start some of these weeks, the way they've been playing. And when they get Gonzalez back, they're going to be even better. Tyreek Hill, I think he had 5 for 76 it was. Jalen Waddle, not very successful. Nobody else really did anything. Achane, not much. Dolphins suffered a loss. Patriots get the win. We move on. 49ers versus the Saints. This was another one of those games we thought we might see an upset. There almost was one, but the defense comes up with a big play at the end. 49ers win 26-21. Saints fall to 0-2. Niners move to 2-0. Mac Jones, filling in for the injured Brock Purdy, goes for 279 and 3 touchdowns. Told you he was a fantasy flex guy because based off how he played last year in Jacksonville, when he had real weapons, he's got a couple real weapons here in McCaffrey and Pearsall. Jennings was out there this week, although he got banged up again. Something to pay attention to going into week 3. But he did catch a touchdown. McCaffrey had over 100 scrimmage yards and 1 touchdown. Jennings caught the touchdown. Nobody else really did anything. Kittle was out. Luke Farrell did catch the touchdown. So that's why I wasn't big on picking up Tongas, because I think it's going to be a different guy every week if a tight end is doing anything. So I'm not real confident in starting any of their backup tight ends. As far as the Saints go, Rattler actually played decent. He threw for 207 and 3 touchdowns. Kamara ended up with over 100 scrimmage yards, no touchdowns though. Shaheed and Juwan Johnson, sneaky start. I shouldn't say sneaky start. He was a sneaky start the first week. But last week, he was just a good start. because Juwan Johnson is involved. You get 11 targets week one, comes back. I think he had 9 targets, had 7 catches and a touchdown this week. Playing well. It's a guy you should have already picked up. If you haven't, go pick him up. He's a great fill-in for some of those injured guys or underperforming guys right now, and he is involved week one, week two. I believe he's going to continue to be involved. And then Olave had 6 for 54. Nothing impressive, but it's good to see him involved. He didn't have as many catches week one. I think he had 4 for something. But week two, he gets a couple more catches, a few more yards. You want to see him continue to be involved. But the Saints O-line is still struggling when it comes to pass protection. Doing great on run blocking, being that Kamara had 99 rushing yards, I think, on 20 or 21 carries, so almost 5 yards a carry right there. That's doing – hey, Kamara's good, but he is getting older, and that means that line's blocking some kind of way. So on to the next game, the Seahawks versus the Steelers. Seahawks win this 31-17. Both of these teams are at 1-1 now. Caleb Johnson, oh no. He was doing a kick return. The ball went over his head, bounced into the end zone, did not bounce out of the back of the end zone. That is a live ball. Seattle jumps on it and recovers it for a touchdown. Huge mistake on the rookie's part. Whether he didn't know the rules, there's been a lot of changes to the kickoff rules, so who knows. But Tomlin's already came out and said he will not be returning kicks for the foreseeable future. And with his lack of involvement in the run game, I am highly surprised that Caleb Johnson has had as much issue as he has getting involved in this offense, getting involved with his team. And I expected more. So I get it if you cut him. I don't blame you. I understand it. I'm telling you right now, somebody cuts him in my league, I'm picking him up because I still believe he's going to get involved. I just believe these first 2 weeks have been really bad for him. And that's all there is to it. So, on the other note, Rodgers went for 203, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Did not play exceptionally well. Got sacked a handful of times. Warren dominated the running back touches. Gainwell not very involved. Caleb Johnson not involved hardly at all. Had over 100 scrimmage yards. No TD this week, though. Metcalf, 3 for 20 and a touchdown. All the tight ends kind of split all the work. Freiermuth could have had a touchdown, but they had 2 players in the same spot. A little confusion there. I think it was Calvin Austin the third. Went for the ball at the same time in the end zone. Neither one of them caught it. It was a 14-point swing, or 14-point difference at the end of the game, but that could have made a difference, and we won't know. But that defensive touchdown on the kickoff definitely made a difference. As far as the Seahawks go, Darnold played well. I won't say great, but played well. He threw for 295, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. And with those guys, with them missing already 3 starters and losing Alex Highsmith in this game, you would like to see Darnold not have those turnovers. Now, I want to say one of them wasn't his fault. I got to go back and watch that because I believe one of them was off somebody's hands. But at the end of the day, 2 interceptions, you don't want to see turnovers. That's all there is to it. Kenneth Walker, he dominated running back. I shouldn't say dominated running back touches, but dominated the success of the running back room. He had over 105 rush yards and 1 touchdown. Zach Charbonnet had 15 carries for 10 yards. I believe he had 1 catch for 6 yards, 5 yards, something like that, but not successful at all on Sharp's part. Walker was a much better running back today, looked great on the long touchdown run, and I expect, as bad as week one was for him, I expect him to still be the starter going into each game, still being the guy that's going to get the majority of carries. But they want to use 2-back system, so Charbonnet is going to be involved unless he has more games like this. Just something to keep in mind going forward for fantasy. JSN continues to prove that he is the number 1 receiver, had 8 for 103, no touchdowns. Cooper Kupp got more involved, 7 for 90 in this game. And Barner and the rookie Torrey Horton both scored a touchdown. So good for them. As I said, I don't want much to do with those Seattle tight ends. Barner is one to pay attention to, but I'm not rushing out and picking him up right now. On to our next game, Broncos versus the Colts. This was surprising to me. Colts get the win 29-28, moved to 2-0, which is a shock. And the Broncos fall to 1-1. The biggest thing about this is the penalty saves the Colts. Denver penalty for leverage is the term that they use when you're leaning or pushing off of a guy to jump to try to block a field goal. It is called leverage. It is a penalty. The Colts kicked like a 61-yarder or something like that. Kicker missed it, but the Broncos got called for a 15-yard leverage penalty moved the field goal up 15 yards, ends up being a long 40-yarder. Schrader knocks it through. Colts win the game 29-28. I'm surprised it was this close. I expected more out of the Denver defense as well as the Denver offense. I expect them to be able to slow down the Colts a little bit more. The Colts have scored on every drive so far this season. Whether it's a field goal or touchdown, that's great news. Jonathan Taylor dominated. Ended up with 165, no touchdowns on the ground, but had 2 for 50 receiving and a receiving touchdown. Daniel Jones, 316 and 1 touchdown. Only 2 rushing yards, but 1 rushing touchdown. So ended up with 2 total touchdowns. Jaylen Warren. Tyler Warren gets 4 for 79. Still involved a lot. Still no touchdowns. We need this rookie tight end getting some touchdowns. I got him on my team. I really want him to get some touchdowns, but this guy needs to get the scoring. We don't need another Trey McBride who catches 100 passes and 0 touchdowns and shit. I need some touchdowns from this guy. Let's get it going. But credit to the Colts, man. Shane Steichen, I talk shit about y'all all season. You're doing a good job so far. Congratulations. On the Broncos side, I don't know what the hell they're doing. That's for fact. This is a game they should have easily won with that defense. But Nix goes for 206, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, 3 for 20 on the ground. J.K. Dobbins was the better running back today, 14 for 76 and a touchdown, plus a reception for 9 yards. Harvey, 5 carries for 8 yards, 1 catch for 16 yards. As I said, I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. You lost the game. You're not involved in your second-round rookie running back. Troy Franklin was a star in receiving. He had 8 for 89 and a touchdown. I don't know where Cortland Sutton is. Don't know where Evan Ingram and Marvin Mims. Mims did catch a touchdown, but not. I think he had 2 catches for not a lot of yards and a touchdown. Ingram and Sutton both had 1 catch apiece. This is what I'm saying. I don't know what Broncos were doing. Give credit to the Colts defense. They clearly were confusing the Broncos, yet Nick somehow still threw 3 touchdowns. He threw a touchdown to the tight end Adam Troutman. Evan Ingram had 1 catch, even though he was active. Probably should have just took the week off. It seems like he did. And Troutman ended up getting a touchdown. But like I said, I expected the Broncos to handle the Colts in this game. They are disappointing. The Colts are exceeding expectations right now. Credit to them. Credit to that coach, to Daniel Jones playing the way he is. Jonathan Taylor, way to run your ass off. Keep doing that. I know people are happy in fantasy. At the end of the day, Colts get the win, move to 2-0. Cardinals and the Panthers. This is in Arizona. This is a 27-22 win for Carolina, for the Cardinals. The Panthers fall to 0-2. Cardinals move to 2-0, surprisingly. I don't think any of us saw that. The defense saves the day. They got an early touchdown on a fumble, I believe it was, into the end zone. And then Calais Campbell comes up with a big sack to close out the game on a 4th down play from Carolina to stop them driving and lock up the game. Murray goes 220 for 1 touchdown, 1 interception, another 7 for 32 on the ground. James Conner, only 34 yards rushing, but gets a touchdown, had 1 catch for 18, so 52 total yards. McBride, 6 for 78, 0 touchdown. That's what I was talking about, Tyler Warren. We don't need – come on, Trey McBride. Where you at, man? Kyler Murray, will you throw this guy the ball in the end zone? On Carolina side, Marvin Harrison wasn't very involved. That's all there is to it. I think he had 2 or 3 catches. Not very involved at all. Bryce Young, 328, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble. Bryce Young was absolute ass in the first half of this game. He came on strong in the second half, started to look more like the Bryce Young in the second half of last season. If he can continue that, Bryce Young is going to be much more productive in fantasy. I'm not trusting him by any means from week to week. It'll have to be you got to prove it to me. But he is making Tetero and McMillan fantasy viable. He had 6 for 100 yards, no touchdowns. And Jatavian Sanders got very involved. He had 7 for 54, no touchdowns. The guy that did have the touchdowns was Hunter Renfrow, who had 7 catches for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. A real nice toe tapper on the sideline, too, in the end zone. So, surprised that he's got 2 touchdowns. Not surprised he's getting involved, especially with Coker still on IR. They need that slot receiver. And there's nobody really – Xavier Legette's not a viable starter right now and not a very good wide receiver right now. He's still got room to grow. He's a weapon that they're not using properly in my mind, and he's still got room to grow as far as his route running and all that good stuff. But so we're moving on to our next game, the Eagles versus the Chiefs, the rematch from the Super Bowl last year. Biggest news about this, the tush push prevails. even if they're cheating by false starting. There was a play, one of the tush pushes had 3 false starts. I think it was the right tackle, the right guard, and then the left tackle, all false started, and it was not called. Chiefs were complaining it was happening all day. It wasn't being called. Something that, look, Eagles, I'm behind you on the tush push. I am not behind you on false starts. I expect penalties to be called. In other words, we create a world of chaos if you can't follow the rules. That's just all there is to it. And you're going to have guys getting in shoving matches and slap fests and everything else because they're getting pissed off that you're doing shit that you shouldn't be doing. You're already doing some crazy stuff that people are mad about. There's no need for you to cheat, man. Either do it without jumping early or don't do it. You see plenty of other teams fail at this because they're getting set. They're not jumping early. They don't have the same quarterback. They don't have the same offensive line. I get it. You guys have an advantage of what you do. You don't need to take the extra false start to get started and fire out early. Do it right or don't do it. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to get a banned because you're trying to do this shit. And if it continues to be an issue where you're false starting multiple players on the same play, it's going to get banned regardless. So you won't be able to do it at all. But in this game, Hurts goes for 101 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 9 for 15, and 1 touchdown on the ground. This guy had 116 total yards. Not a good fantasy day. I expected more from him. I expected A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to get more involved in this game. And A.J. Brown had like 5 catches, but it was like for 23 yards or something. Devontae Smith had 4 for 53. Barkley had 88 and 1 touchdown and 2 catches for 6 yards. On the other side, Mahomes, 187, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 7 for 66 and a touchdown on the ground. No, Mahomes has been running. I think he had like 52 or 54 yards in the first game and 66 in this game. So he is being a staple back. He needs to get some more passing yards, though, if he want to make that staple back requirements. There's definitely room for growth there on the passing side. Kareem Hunt and Pacheco both involved. Neither one very successful. Kareem Hunt was 8 for 31 on the ground. Pacheco was 10 for 22 on the ground. Pacheco still got the more carries, but it's basically split, and it's not very fantasy viable right now for either player, even his flex plays. Kelsey, 4 for 61. Should have been 5 for 60 or for 70 and a touchdown. He had a ball go right through his hands and into the defender's hands for an interception. It was his fault, nobody else's. And you could tell his frustration immediately as he threw his hands in the air. Like, I can't believe I just fucking did that. Tyquan Thornton caught a long touchdown, had a couple other catches, I believe, and nobody else was really involved. Not a lot of success passing this game, and it's getting ugly there in KC as far as the offense goes. I believe they're going to make a trade for a player, regardless of who it is, whether it's Tyreek Hill or Chris Olave, maybe some unforeseen thing. Maybe they go get someone from another AFC team or a West Coast team. I don't know, man. But they need to get somebody out there because the guys they got are not cutting it. Xavier Worthy could be back this week, but even then, he probably is not at 100%, even if he does play. You don't know how much you're going to get from him, and you don't know what this offense is going to be. Rashee Rice is not going to be back till after week 6. There's a good chance that the Chiefs, even if it's a guy that isn't a top-notch speed guy or something, I don't know. I just feel like the Chiefs need to make a move. Whether it's for a running back, whether it's for a wide receiver, you need to do something to help that offense out because you guys are wasting Mahomes' talent right now in my mind. On to the next game, though. Falcons versus the Vikings, our Sunday night game. This was a game of field goals, mainly. And Aaron Jones and J.J. McCarthy came out of this game hurt. Now, McCarthy came out of this game hurt with an ankle. Aaron Jones actually has a hamstring, got put on IR today, will be out for at least 4 weeks. Jordan Mason moves to number 1 on the depth chart. And as a priority ad, if he is on the waiver, I doubt he is. But a guy that you could start for the next 4 weeks without question in my mind. On that note, Mason had 9 for 30. Not very impressive today. McCarthy, 158, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, had 5 for 25 rushing. And then Justin Jefferson had 3 for 81. Just not a good performance by Minnesota offensively. On Atlanta side, Penix, not much better, 135, 0-0, no touchdowns, no picks. Bijan, 22 for 143, no touchdowns though, but did have 3 for 25 receiving. Tyler Algier, 16 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. They basically just ran the ball down Minnesota's throat, which scary to see that for Minnesota's defense situation. It could be a sign of things to come after Atlanta does it. Other teams may try to do it as well, but great performance on the ground from Atlanta. Nothing impressive. Drake London had 3 for 52, I believe it was, and Pitts had 4 for 37. But nothing from Mooney. He had 2 catches. Nothing from Ray McLeod. None of that. Just a mediocre offensive game, man. Just bleh. You know what I mean? It's great. I like watching defensive games, but I wouldn't even consider that a great game. The Monday night game we had, which we're going to move on to next year, the Bucs and the Texans, much more of a defensive battle. Bucs end up prevailing with getting a win 20-19 thanks to Baker Mayfield's heroics. He saved the day, man. He's playing his ass off these first 2 games, dealing without a left tackle. Then they lost a right tackle in the game this week. Godwin's still not back. Emeka Egbuka scores another touchdown. But Mayfield goes 2 for 15, 2 touchdowns, plus 3 for 33 on the ground. Got sacked 4 times, though. That's what I was talking about. It was a defensive battle. And Evans had 5 for 56, no touchdowns. Bucky, 17 for 71. Bucky Irving on the ground, no touchdowns, but had 6 for 50 receiving, which you love to see. I think he had 4 or 5 catches week 1. If he's going to be involved as much as a receiver, man, he's got a chance to finish as number 1 if he can start getting some more touchdowns. Rashad White actually came in his game and ran very well. He only had 1 catch, which is usually his job as the receiving back, but 10 for 65 and a touchdown. So it was another game, man. Those running backs combined for a lot of yards, and the success of this team was based off how they were running the ball. On the Houston side, offensive line continues to be an issue. That was an issue last year, was an issue this year. But Stroud missed a few guys. What do you have? 207, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 4 for 27 on the ground, no touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 12 for 43 and a touchdown. He had a nice 25-yard run. Other than that, wasn't very successful. And had 2 catches for 29 yards. And then Woody Marks, Damian Pierce was inactive for this game. So Woody Marks came in, was the backup mainly. Agumbawale played a handful of plays, but Marks was the clear backup in this game. Only had 3 carries for 14 yards, 1 catch for 37 yards, though. Took a little screen pass in the flat, took it down the sideline. Great looking play. I'm guessing he's going to be getting more involved with him and Chubb being the running backs. Pierce will be a guy that he could be getting traded. Maybe he goes to Casey. I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward, though. Nico had a first drive touchdown. Ended up with 3 for 52 and 1, though. Just couldn't get the ball the rest of the game, barely. Just like I said, the offense, Stroud missed a couple plays. Mainly was just spread out, too. His passing yards, Xavier Hutchinson got some passes. Dalton Schultz got a couple passes. It was just all over the field. Higgins, I think, had 1 catch, the rookie. Noel had a huge punt return that took away the opportunity to score more points. Fair fantasy guys towards the end of the game tried to get him to win, but just couldn't pull it out. Bucs pull it out, scored late touchdown, win the game. And that's all there is to it. Great win by the Bucs to move to 2-0. Texas fall to 0-2, and they got to figure out what they're doing going into week 3. Our last game of week 2, Raiders versus the Chargers. Division rivals, Chargers walk away with a 20-9 win, move to 2-0. Raiders fall to 0-2. Biggest story of this game, Herbert shined and Geno faltered. On the Raiders side, Geno, 180, 0, and 3 interceptions. Geno was just off all over the place, man. Did not like the way he played on Monday night, and I don't expect him to play like that again. The Chargers defense was putting a lot of pressure. Khalil Mack had a sack, but ends up leaving the game injured. But that Chargers defense is really good this year, and it's scary, and it's going to make them a playoff contender. That's for damn sure. Genty, 11 for 43 and 0 touchdowns. A little more success this week compared to week 1. Had 3 catches, but only 1 yard. I don't even know what to say about that. But Jacoby Myers, 6 for 68 and 0, no touchdown. Brock Bowers, 5 for 30, no touchdowns. 180 yards is not a lot of stats to go around. That's all there is to it. On the Chargers side, like I said, Herbert shined. Threw for 242 and 2 touchdowns, along with 9 for 31. That's 2 games of him rushing for over 25 yards. I'm trying to remember. I think he had like 45 yards the first game, but I can't remember. But all the same, Herbert's running the ball like crazy right now, and it's just adding to his fantasy stats. Najee, 8 for 28. Hampton, 8 for 24. Nothing to write home about. Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen scored a touchdown apiece again. So that's week 1 and week 2. Quentin Johnston's got 3 touchdowns. Keenan Allen's got 2. Keenan Allen had more catches, but him and McCarthy, 0 touchdowns still. 5 for 48. That's 7 points in my home league, man, because we go every 20 yards. This is why I was scared about picking him as a number 1 receiver. That's why I said he's more of a number 2. I still expect him to start being more involved. But right now, the way this offense is humming, there's no need to change anything. And it's going to be by chance who gets the touchdowns. Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston have just been on the end of them so far in the first couple of weeks. But I wasn't expecting McConkey to be a number 1 receiver. If you could trade him right now, I would, because you can probably still got a lot for him for somebody that thinks that they're going to try and get a deal on him. And then just go pick up Quentin Johnston, man. And you probably get double the value. You can get whoever you get back from McConkey, as well as getting the guy that's been catching touchdowns, who is on the field. He was on the field more than anybody in the first half. I'd have to go back and look for the full total game. But as far as the receivers go, he was on the field more than any other receiver in the first half, I believe. So something to pay attention to. Tight ends, none of them really did anything in this game. But at the end of the day, they don't need to if everybody else is scoring touchdowns. So great game by the Chargers. Terrible game by the Raiders. We move into our Thursday night preview to finish up the episode. This will be the Dolphins versus the Bills on Thursday night. Starts for this game, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill. That is all I can recommend starting. I'm not even giving you flex players. I can't even give you the kicker, Riley Patterson, because I do not. The way the Bills handle the Jets, I'm worried about the Dolphins again, like they might show up like they did in week 1. But Achane and Hill have both been involved the first 2 weeks. Getting enough stats for you to continue to start him. Hill, I understand if you want to do the third receiver flex spot and hope that he goes off. He had a good game this week at 6 for 103. Achane still was involved. Nobody else is really doing anything for the Dolphins. Tua had an all right game, but I don't expect him to play the same as he did this week in week 3. So on the Bills side, Josh Allen, Matt Prater, James Cook, the Bills defense, definitely. Flex players, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir. The sits for this game, Tua, Waddle. Jalen Waddle, I can't start. He's banged up. He got banged up a little bit in the game. He was already questionable coming into the game. Can't recommend starting him with the way they've been playing. All the tight ends for the Dolphins, not interested. Dolphins defense, sit them. On the Buffalo side, sit Josh Palmer. He's going to be one of those random guys you just got to start on the right week to get a touchdown, especially with Shakir getting healthy and Keon Coleman playing the way he has. That's all there is to it. He's been playing great this year so far. And if he can continue to be involved and Dalton Kincaid continue to be involved, it's going to be hard for, especially if Josh Allen isn't having to throw as much as he did in week 1 against the Ravens. If they don't got to do that and James Cook continues to have success on the ground, that defense continues to play the way it does, you can't recommend starting 5 or 6 receivers for one team. So my sneaky start for this game, Ray Davis. I think the Bills could get up. I think they could try to give James Cook a little bit of a rest, and Ray Davis ends up getting 10 to 12 carries for like 60 yards, maybe a touchdown, because Ray Davis has got good capabilities. He was the guy you wanted to pick up as the insurance policy for this offense. If something was to happen to James Cook, I think you could be a sneaky start in a deep league, in a super flex league where you got those extra flex spots and get you some points, man. Other than that, we're going to get out of here. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon.